What happened at your work which caused multiple people to all quit at once? They laid off half the company with no warning. This included a gentleman who was less than a year from retirement and had been there for 35 plus years. The company was shocked when half the remaining people abandoned ship shortly thereafter. At previous and final employer they did a round of layoffs. Now this is Europe, so you need a reason to fire people with a contract, and they said it was for economic reasons. So naturally, like rats on a ship, a massive exodus began. Everyone was looking for a new job. Management didn't expect this, so a month and a half later, they released their Christmas speech, calling for fresh young talent and asking people to stick together like family when they fired 30 people just 6 weeks ago. Come January, the second wave of the exodus was well underway. The company consistently outpaced competing firms and found itself emerging as one of the industry leading agencies. This was also a California tech firm, so shorts, flip-flops, beers at lunch, smoking on the roof were all rather common. But we were rapidly growing, and the atmosphere/location made us a hot ticket for talent. Anyway, CFO and CMO cashed out, and the CEO decided to totally remodel the company by making it far more corporate. On top of all of this, they implemented unattainable goals and removed our work from home policy. The final straw was they removed our rather generous vacation policy and replaced it with unlimited vacation, which was a facade for you can take as much vacation as you want if we approve it. Like 1/4 of the company quit and immediately landed at better jobs. Also profit tanked. Restructure of the way we are paid. What I used to do involved about 40% client interaction, 20% team/coworker interaction, and 40% paperwork and case coordination stuff. Based on what we do, that means only 40% of the time is technically billable, and there are really sticky rules for what is and isn't billable. So, logically, we were being paid on a salary model. Q management saying we can only make money for the time we have that is actually billable. 1/4 of the department quit. 2 of us on the same day. Turned out our owner was keeping the social security money taken from our paychecks. And yes, he was caught. The owner died, and his idiot son took over and decided that the company didn't make him enough money and started to implement cost-cutting measures like turning off the account in the building. When I was 16, I worked in the concession stand at a minor league baseball stadium. Minimum wage at the time was $5.15/HR. This job paid $8, and it was always in the evenings, so it was perfect work for a high school student. The only bad thing was our management was terrible. The main manager would throw toddler tantrums about once a shift over stupid bullshit, like not ordering enough of a specific beer she did the ordering, or running out of pre-cut lemons for tea. One night the stadium was running a promotion, and it was incredibly busy, easily 2 or 3 times the normal volume of customers. We were all working our asses off handling multiple roles each with absolutely no downtime. Although we all cleaned as we worked, nobody had a chance to do thorough cleaning for the whole shift because of the never-ending horde of hungry baseball fans. The manager showed up 3 to 4 hours late per usual and throws the biggest freaking tantrum ever over the unswept floor. Finally, she announces, "Listen up you lazy freaks. Minimal work gets minimal pay. Everybody is being paid minimum wage tonight because you slobs won't clean up anything." Both of our bartenders and the bar back quit on the spot, which caused a chain reaction. We all took off our aprons and hats to leave. She blocked the exit and was red in the face from screaming, so one of the cooks climbed out of one of the big serving windows where we served customers, so I did the same and most of the staff followed. Bear in mind that this all happened in front of like 200 plus customers. Of course, my final paycheck got lost, so I had to file a wage theft complaint with the Texas Workforce Commission. Owners retired. They were literally the greatest people, both very sweet, but kept the place running like a well-oiled machine. They took pretty good care of us and their restaurant. When they left, they gave the restaurant over to their nephew, who at the time was a busboy/waiter, kind of standoffish, didn't really interact with us too much, a bit lazy at times, but for the most part did his shit and went home. He seemed okay until he got the power of being the owner. He fired 4 people, including 2 of the 4 cooks and 2 of the 3 dishwashers, literally that same day, on a Friday night just before the dinner rush, all because he didn't like their attitude. He refused to allow people to take vacation that they'd already requested and gotten confirmed by the original owners, would change the schedule randomly without telling anyone, and then scream at people when they missed a shift or came in late because of it. He'd refuse to replenish the kitchen until we were literally already out of things, then take forever to put in the orders. He showed up randomly and would drink at the bar, for free of course, because he was the owner, and then bring in all his buddies to drink with him. Together they'd get way out of hand and grab at women and try to start fights. Within the first month of him being the owner, over half the staff had quit, usually walking out literally in the middle of their shifts. After being screamed at, they'd basically throw down their aprons and tell everyone else that they were so sorry, but they couldn't do it anymore. After the last cook, this big dude who usually kept the kitchen laughing and running at a decent pace, started crying in the middle of his shift and dropped everything he was doing after the boss came and yelled at him for being too slow and making slop, then walked out. The rest of us just bailed along with him. 4 months later the place was closed. His aunt and uncle were absolutely furious and devastated that he'd run the business they'd built up for over 30 years into the ground. Anytime I've seen a mass exodus, it was because of poor management. I've never seen it organized, just a bunch of employees independently deciding to quit in the same month because the management was so bad. Yeah, that's the case on 9 times out of 10. People don't leave jobs, they leave shitty bosses. I used to work at a McDonald's, and we had a terrible manager who hated a lot of people working there. Everyone else hated him too, but no one wanted to call him out on his shit and quit. I was the first to do it, because I requested 2 weeks off in August of that year, about 3 months in advance. My family likes to plan our summer vacations early on. When August came around he had my schedule set up for all of August off except for those specific 2 weeks. There was no way that he could have misinterpreted my request. When I got my schedule, I stormed into the restaurant, called him out on everything, and then quit on the spot. About 2 weeks after that, I heard from one of my work friends that 5 other people had enough and quit as well. I kind of felt good to be the first. What makes a good manager at these types of places is recognizing that 95% of their minimum wage employees could go get an equal paying job on their lunch break and start that day. Your store isn't special. The only personnel management you have to do as a GM is to make them want to work there. Do just enough to motivate them to make your store successful, and then spend the rest of your energy making it a place they want to work. Make them happy, and they'll naturally become better employees. Oh frecking boy. I worked at Buffalo Wild Wings for a few years as a line cook. 2 different stores, same frecking pay. It was a type of work where you ask for a raise and they scoff and say yeah, me too. Anyways, I had been pretty dead set on quitting sooner or later. Our kitchen was very small. Most people ended up closing 4 to 5 days a week with doubles on the weekends, while still attending school full time as it was a college town. On Super Bowl frecking Sunday, a useless coworker who ducked out in the bathroom most the shift finally stops showing, and in response the managerial staff delegated closing to my pal Jay. Dude was a frecking delight to be around. Hands down the best coworker ever. Jay had told them that due to being a full-time student, he no longer wanted to be first and last out, 4 PM to 12 AM, 1 AM on the weekends. They basically told him to go freck himself, and that they don't have any more shifts for him. Immediately, me and one other cook walked to the office and quit on the spot. Buffalo Wild Wings lost 4 cooks on Super Bowl Sunday, leaving them with 7 full-time students on the schedule. It was a managerial shit show. New management. In a month, 4 kitchen staff quit, leaving me to be the only original kitchen staff hire from the previous manager. She completely changed the vibe of the workplace. No one was happy. No one felt like talking or listening to music or being friendly. It was robotic. I did landscape construction. The cheap ass owner kept taking bigger and bigger projects, while never hiring more help. We were all overwhelmed, stressed, and anxious as hell. One of our foremen quit, and I followed suit a few days later. 2 more guys quit the next day. He was down to 3 guys for the obscene amount of work he wanted to do. Of course everything gets way behind schedule, but he's convinced it's not his fault at all. He went out of business less than a year later.